بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين لا قيام يوم الدين. So we finished the conditions of the the sacrifice. We said the sacrifice is done in the daytime on the day of Eid, if not possible, the other days of Tashriq. Tashriq, we said, is from sun rising and it's from the illumination. So when the sun rises, like Shuruq al-Shams. So when sun rises, all the sacrifice goat is spread out. They cut them into pieces and the sun ray falls on this. Those days they did not have refrigerators. So Mina would smell like uh, dead meat or something like that because of that. So it's done in on the day of Eid from sunrise till sunset. After sunset, one should not sacrifice, leave it for the next day, and obviously whatever comes after it should be also left after it. So therefore, pelting the shaitan after that, the sacrifice and sacrifice we mentioned, the time of sacrifice we mentioned, the day of sacrifice we mentioned, and then we mentioned the sequence that it comes after the pelting of the stone is on the basis of obligatory precaution. That means if there are any circumstances, then you can make it earlier and then pelt the stone. Whatever, we are going to talk about those in rulings. However, what type that it needs to be in Mina and not out of Mina. That's another issue we are facing nowadays as a school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And the goat itself, we said the age. There's a certain age for sheep and for the goat, for the cow, and for the camel. We discussed that. And defects. There are two types of defects. One are, it is obligatory to see that those defects are not there, and those are a few. And then there are some other defects. As a recommended precaution, one should avoid the defective animal for the sacrifice. So we completed those rules, and we said that ruling number 382 we did, 383, 384. We did the age, which was in 384, 385. Yes. And we also said that the sharing of the ruling of the sharing of the sacrifice. So if somebody cannot afford the sacrifice, there's a ruling that in the Quran that he needs to fast a certain amount of days. However, if he can afford sharing with someone else, then sharing plus fasting on the basis of obligatory precaution, sharing must be done. But if he does fasting, then that's the ruling of the Quran. However, so let's see ruling number 385. He says that if someone purchases a sacrifice, animal of sacrifice, he made sure, he was sure that it was intact, no defect. Later, it appeared after the payment, after the purchase, he realized that it had a defect. Okay, he paid, now it's his. Okay, what should he do? So it's too late even to give it back. There's no like 30 days return policy or 90-day return policy or whatever. So it is done. What should he do now? He says, no problem. Apparently, it will be sufficient for him. Okay. That means he can sacrifice that goat because he did not, he realized, he believed that it was intact. Then he realized that no, there was some defect. So then it will be sufficient. Ruling number 386. If he did not find, if the person who's going to perform the sacrifice, purchase the sacrifice, did not find from the three cattles, an animal which fulfills the conditions mentioned previously on the day of Eid. Okay. On the day of Eid, and the days of Tashriq, like 11th, 12th, and 13th Dhul Hajj. I will say that I'll stick to the word Tashriq rather than illumination, because because it has a broader context, like the day where you can sacrifice the animal of Hajj, the days. Um, so he did not find the animal which which fulfills the conditions of sacrifice, neither on the day of Eid nor in the days of Tashriq. So what should he do? On the basis of obligatory precaution, combine between two things: slaughter any of these defective ones, and fast the fasting, which is a substitute of sacrifice. Remember, we said that there are days a person needs to fast, and those days are like uh, in ruling number 393, there are 10 days uh, for the sacrifice. 3 in Dhil Hajj, an obligatory precaution should be on the 7th and 8th and 9th of Dhil Hajj, should not be before it. And then the remaining 7, when he comes back to his hometown, he should fast those days, and it would not be sufficient in Makkah. So we have been repeatedly saying fast days as substitute. It is mentioned in the Quran. Said he fasts 3 days in Makkah. Excuse me, 3 days in Makkah and 7 days when he comes back to his hometown. Those 7 days, Quran mentions when he comes back. So you cannot fast those 7 days in Makkah. But 3 days, they are prescribed in Quran to be fasted there. So therefore, this ruling is if someone, like 386, if someone does not find an animal or a cattle which fulfills the conditions mentioned before, then he neither on the day of Eid nor on the days of Tashriq, 11th, 12th, and 13th, then he should slaughter any of the defected animal, plus he should fast those 10 days, which are in substitute, in replacement for the sacrifice. The same thing, the same ruling will be applied for someone if he did not find cost. Let's say the intact was costly, was like $500, and he had only $200, and with 200 he can only find those defected ones. So therefore, just get that defected one and fast 10 days. So the same ruling applies for someone who can only afford the animal which is defected, the cost. And وَإِذَا تَيَسَّرَ لَهُ تَحْصِيلُ التَّامِ فِي بَقِيَّةِ ذِي الْحَجَّةِ. So if he is able, like Ayyam al-Tashriq is must. However, let's say after Ayyam al-Tashriq, his dua became mustajab, and mashallah, he found a cheap or an intact goat without any defect. So he says obligatory precaution, add that sacrifice to it. Okay, but Ayyam al-Tashriq is out. Still, we are not saying it's fatwa, it's obligatory precaution. If you don't want, and you have already spent money in that defective and this and that, so just refer to another marja. But for me, I would say, like say the Sistani, as a precautionary measure, obligatory precaution, add that goat to the goat you have already sacrificed, or the animal which you have already sacrificed, which was defective. Ruling number 387. If this guy looks like he was bewitched, like the seller recited abracadabra, alakazam, balakazam, and the guy saw this, wow, it's a fat, juicy goat or sheep, mashallah. He purchased it, the spell goes away. What? It's a skinny and bony, and where's the flesh? So what should he do? So if a person, I'm just giving a hypothetical scenario. So uh, if a person buys an animal of sacrifice, that he's fat. Okay. And then later on, he realized, no, it is very skinny. So he said, it would be sufficient. Just slaughter that. Don't worry about it. Okay, it's not your fault. You purchased as fat and you got a skinny one. So, but what if I slaughtered it? That's fine. It would be sufficient before slaughtering or after you slaughtered and realized. So the realization happened before slaughtering, no problem. Slaughter it. Or after slaughtering. Similar to the ruling of the defective. He got an intact. Later on, it appeared that it was a defective. So it will be sufficient for him. Now, this one, the ram or the sheep, has a specific ruling, perhaps based on a narration which excludes this ruling. However, this narration has certain problems. That's why this rule is based on obligatory precaution. Because if the narration is authentic and narrated properly and the context is clear, then fatwa is given. But when there is a narration and obligatory precaution is given, that means either the context is not clear, either the link is not clear, the sanad, and there's a weak link in the narration. And ulamas, they give fatwa based on this. So he can't give fatwa because he doesn't support that shohra kind of thing. However, he gave an obligatory precaution just to use precautionary measures. So what is this ruling? He says about the rat. We said about any other animal, you got it as fat and it came out to be skinny or bony, like you can touch the bones of the animal. And we said that it should not be sufficient. But here, since you purchased it, now it's sufficient. But, however, if that animal, you thought it would be a ram or a sheep, okay, fat sheep, so he slaughtered it based on the claim that it was fat, but it appeared to be skinny. Here, it will not be sufficient. So this is an exceptional rule from the general rule we mentioned here, okay? So sheep case is exceptional. Either you refer to another marja or slaughter another animal. Okay. So this is the case of sheep or ram is an exceptional case. If he slaughtered, ruling number 388, if he slaughtered and after slaughtering, he doubted whether it fulfilled the conditions of goat of sacrifice or animal of sacrifice or not. We will say you are done. You are not in a position to fix. It's already, the throat is slit. It's sacrifice. You can't do anything. So ignore your doubt. This is the doubt of passing, like completing and passing through that stage. قاعدة التجاوز. So you have done it. Your sacrifice is done now. So any doubt after sacrifice, was it correct or not? Was the animal fulfilling the condition or not? Ignore it. Similarly, if someone doubts after slaughtering the animal, okay, after slaughtering the sacrifice, was it in Mina or was it somewhere else? Khalas, ignore the doubt. Once you have done it, you have done it. Now you don't doubt it is in Mina or out of Mina. So this is the doubt that sacrifice happened. However, you're doubting in the validity of the sacrifice. So in this case, we'll say valid. However, if you're doubting that did sacrifice happen or not, I don't know. Did I do sacrifice or I did not do sacrifice? So here we will say if you have entered another obligation, okay, so the previous one you did sacrifice, but after the end you doubted in the place or you doubted it, you did the sacrifice. So this is qa'idatul faragh, after completing. But then here, you do not know that you sacrifice or not. The question will, have you entered in another state, another obligation, such as shaving of the head or clipping of the hair? That's the next wajib. So if you have done, then the rule of tajawuz, you have passed over that obligation. So you will consider it correct. If you have not done the shaving until now, and you doubt about the initial obligation of fulfillment of the obligation, that did I even sacrifice or not? So we said, did you do your shaving? Yes, khalas, you did sacrifice. You entered another obligation. And no, I have not done the shaving. Then you get the sacrifice done first. Okay. Observe your doubt. Take it into consideration that you have not. So, so however, if he doubts in the origin fulfillment of the sacrifice, did I even sacrifice? So if the doubt was after passing its position in rank, okay, how? Such as if he had done the shaving of the head or taqsir, a clipping of the hair, uh, another obligation. So you have exited the state of ihram. Here, that person will ignore the doubt. However, if he had not yet shaved the head or clipped the hair for exiting the state of ihram, then he must do the sacrifice. Okay. Uh, if someone doubts, same ruling, we are taking a few doubts here. One more doubt. If someone doubts that is my sacrifice, is my animal skinny or not, like many people who live in the West, they're not exposed to the animals. They don't know which is like skinny and which is like filled. So like people, they have expert, they pat and oh, this is a good one. It has a good chunk of flesh and fat. And they just pat, oh, this is very skinny. But here, if they have not even touched a goat, forget about patting and knowing so let's say he doubted that is this goat, is this animal skinny or not before the sacrifice. Okay, what's the difference between this ruling and previous ruling? Previous ruling, after the sacrifice. This is before the sacrifice. He doubted that is my animal skinny, bony or not, and he said that I hope it is not. He had this probability that it is not, and he achieved the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After he slaughtered, it appeared that it was not skinny, then it would be sufficient. So why, like, because you need to slaughter optionally, okay, not under the case of necessity, we said, but optionally it should not be skinny and bony. So he doubted, but he said, I'll do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you cannot sacrifice a skinny goat. Previously, he thought it was filled. After slaughtering, he realized, or after purchase, he realized it was skinny. Here, from the beginning, he has the doubt in its being skinny. So he slaughtered it, making the intention, hoping that it is not skinny. He should have confirmed. He should have double checked. Okay. So he did it to achieve the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sincerely, loyalty. He did not have the stubbornness. No, I'm just going to spend this much money, not too much money, and get a hefty, juicy, fat-filled goat. What will Allah do? Allah will not eat. Something like that, like Qabil phenomena. So this person did not have that stubbornness or spiritual intentions. His intention was spiritual. So he made the intention, achieving the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But after that, he realized it was not skinny. It would be sufficient. So what is the scenario here? Previously, the scenario was he thought that it was fat and he purchased it as it is fat. Then he realized it was skinny. Okay. Here, he purchased a skinny or doubtful in being skinny without confirming. And he should not do like that. So he slaughtered. Okay. There is intentional deliberateness. Okay. So intentionally, he had a doubt, he did not confirm. And he slaughtered. He was lucky that it came out to be not skinny. So it would be sufficient. What if it came out to be skinny? Because when he slaughtered, it came out to be not skinny, filled. But what if it came out to be skinny? He would have been in trouble. Why? Because he did not confirm. He doubted it is skinny. He needs to double check to remove his doubt. So he was shortcoming. Now he did sacrifice and it came out to be proper. So will we go with this intention or will we go with the he not confirming? So he did not confirm, but he hoped that it is not skinny and he achieved the nearness to Allah and he was not stubborn, you see, deliberate in his stubbornness. So he says, وَإِذَا شَكَّ فِي هَزَالِ الْهَدِي فَذَبَحَهُ بِرِجَاءٍ أَنْ لَا يَكُونَ مَهْزُولًا مَعْ قَصْدِ الْقُرْبَةِ. This is the key thing. So he was not stubborn or staunch or no, I'm going to just skinny, whatever. What will Allah do? No, he said, Ya Allah, except from me, I hope that it is, inshallah, fulfills the condition. And so he had this hope in it and he did not have like a stubbornness and he achieved the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in it sincerely. After that, ثُمَّ ظَهَرَ بَعْدَ الذَّبْحِ, after slaughtering, it appeared to be, it was not skinny. Then it will be sufficient. Okay, 389. So ruling number 389, if a person purchases a sacrifice animal for a sacrifice, which was intact for the HAJJ tamattu, he already purchased. After he purchased, I think he didn't like the owner or something like that. The owner was not spiritual or something like that. So he became sick. Sick of the owner, sick of I don't know what, sick of not giving food, this and that. Anyhow. So it was intact when he purchased. After purchasing, he purchased for Hajj Tamattu. The people, they go and purchase from the second day of the Hajj before they are out of the goat. And the businessmen, they surround them and paint them with specific paint so that when they come on the day of Eid, the purchase is already done. So if because they have to check everything, the caravan, when they do this service, they want to help the Hajjaj. So they need to check everything is intact. So this person purchased the goat of sacrifice for Hajj Tamattu. After that, it became sick. Or it got broken. Let's say it was running away from the owner or something like that and fell down or something like that and it broke his bone. أو عيب, or somehow a defect, it became defective. So it became sick, or he got a fracture, or he got a defect. So will it be sufficient? He says there's a problem in considering it sufficient. Okay. So he says that فَفِي الْإِجْتِزَاءِ بِهِ إِشْكَالٌ, to consider it sufficient, there's a problem. That means obligatory precaution not to consider it sufficient. So what say them? And recommended precaution is to slaughter it and give the sadaqah, give the the money as charity. I mean, give the to slaughter it. Okay, and يذبحه أيضا. So to slaughter it, and then after that ويتصدق بثمنه. So let me see, there is a word kind of missing here. أو عيب ففي الاجتزاء به إشكال بل منع. Sufficiency is problematic. Okay, إشكال, not إشكال, not obligatory precaution. Moreover, it is not sufficient. So he will have to uh, do another sacrifice. And on the basis of recommended precaution, he will slaughter this also. And then the value of it. Okay. So let's say to slaughter or to sell it. Yeah, this is where the word is like kind of got into each other. وَالْأَحْوَطْ إِسْتِحْبَابًا, based on recommended precaution, to slaughter it as well. So to slaughter. However, it's not sufficient. He will have to slaughter another goat. Or if he doesn't have money, fast 10 days. So slaughter it. And if he sells it, let's say you don't want it, where will you slaughter it? Why would you slaughter it? Just sell it to anybody. So if he sells it, he should give that money of like selling that animal, charity to the poor people. Give it sadaqah. ويتصدق بثمن لو باعه. If he sells it, then he needs to give that money as charity, not take it for himself, because it was given for Hajj Tamattu, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is already dedicated. But after that, these defects, it became. Now, okay, what about before? We said it will be sufficient. There's a technical difference. Before, we said what? He purchased it, okay. Then it appeared to be not okay after purchasing it. Here, he purchased it okay, but it became defective after he purchased it. So there is a two different thing. That it did not become defective. It was as it is, defective from the beginning. He purchased it defective, thinking that it was not defective. Here, he purchased an intact, but it became defective later on. So, as a recommended precaution, slaughter it also. Or, that's the word missing here. Or, if he sells it, then he should the money which he got after selling it should be given charity sadaqah to the poor. 390. If someone purchases an animal, that's interesting. If someone purchased an animal of sacrifice, okay, and got lost, ran away. No, you're not going to slaughter me. I'm going to run away. I'm going to seek refuge somewhere else. So if he purchased an animal of sacrifice and he got lost and he couldn't find it, and he did not know that whether someone slaughtered it on his behalf or not, وجب عليه تحصيل هدي آخر مكانه. He has to buy another goat or another animal of sacrifice as a substitute or a replacement. So, okay, he got. What if the goat came back home? I mean, he was upset, he ran away, something, and now he calmed down, he came back to his owner. فإن وجد الأول قبل ذبح الثاني ذبح الأول. See how the intention plays major role. You purchased it for the sacrifice. You cannot replace it. You have to sacrifice that animal precisely which you purchased. Okay? So, khalas, it has been dead. The moment you purchase, you have dedicated it from your property to Hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he says, if the previous one, if the first one was found before slaughtering the second one, then he should slaughter the first one. And here's an option to the second, because the second one also has been dedicated for Hajj. So two have been dedicated for Hajj. So which one? The first one will be the animal of sacrifice of Hajj. What about the second? It has also been dedicated. If he wants, he can slaughter it also. You can slaughter more than one animal if you want to. Okay? Yes, one animal cannot be shared by two people, but one person can slaughter more than one. So if he wants, he can slaughter it. And if he wants, he can spare it. And it will be like all other belongings. So it will be his belonging. Why? Because the dedicated one was the first one, which was dedicated, got lost and found. So that one was the dedicated for the sacrifice. So other one, you want to slaughter it, nurun ala nur. You want to keep it as your belongings, okay? However, for those who are traveling there, he's not going to purchase a ticket and in the plane he's going to sit beside him, fasten the seatbelt like some of those cartoons. So obviously it will be your belonging there in Makkah or wherever. Well, and it's recommended precaution to slaughter it as well. So this was when he found that first sacrifice before slaughtering the second sacrifice. What if he found the first one after slaughtering the second one as a sacrifice? He says, based on the obligatory precaution, just slaughter that one as well, because that one was dedicated. This one was substitute. So substitute, you have an option to keep it dedicated and slaughter it, or to take it as your belongings. Okay. However, if you find the first one after you have slaughtered the second one, the first one is in limbo. So that's why it's obligatory precaution. Should he relieve him? Like, for example, can it be his belonging and property and he can sell it? Or no, should he slaughter him because the first dedication came upon it? He says on the basis of obligatory precaution, just slaughter it. Okay, or refer to another marja who says once you slaughter the second, it's not needed to slaughter the first one. Ruling number 391. If he finds a ram or a sheep, okay, remember that guy's sheep or ran away, the other guy found it. So if someone finds a ram or a sheep floating here and there, wandering around, captured him. وَعَلِمَ بِكَوْنِهِ هَدْيًا ضَلَّ عَنْ صَاحِبِهِ. And he realized that it is a goat or animal of sacrifice which had been lost from its owner. It would be permissible for him to slaughter it on that owner's behalf. But he doesn't know that has he pelted the stone or not. So normally people, they pelt the stone, okay? However, it will be nice for him to wait, not slaughter him until he realizes that the owner like pelting the stone needs to be done before as an obligatory precaution. And this is a case of where obligatory precautions can be bypassed. So let's see. So if he finds a ram, for example, or a sheep, and he realized that it is it is an animal of sacrifice of someone which has been lost from its owner, it would be permissible for him to slaughter it on behalf of the owner. However, if what about if the owners found out, okay, it's not however, and if the owner found out that that it has been sacrificed, okay, if the owner of that animal found out that it has been sacrificed, then it would be sufficient for the owner. Okay. So this is the situation here, that maybe that person knows if he found a name tag or a phone number or something like that. He had been trying to call him, so he sacrificed, and then he called him that your goat, your ram has been sacrificed. So he said, okay, thank you so much. It will be sufficient. However, it is obligatory precaution upon the one who found that animal to introduce it before slaughtering it until the Asr evening of the 12th day. Okay, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So just wait, introduce it until the 12th day evening. Try to say, we found a ram. Don't give every details, or you'll have thousands of people say, oh, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. So you found a ram and this and that, and if it was around your caravan, then you know that someone of the caravan might have lost it. So anyhow, try to make an announcement or introduce it as a lost and found until the evening, until the Asr, or the evening of the 12th Dhul Hajj. اليوم العاشر عصر اليوم العاشر, because the 13th is the last day of أيام التشريق. So yeah, so whenever he finds, he needs to introduce it until the evening. If he found 10th Dhul Hajj, 10th, 11th, 12th. If he found 11th Dhul Hajj, 11th and 12th. If he found 12th Dhul Hajj, until the evening of the 12th. 392. If someone does not find an animal of sacrifice on the days of Tashriq, that is 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. 10th day is the day of sacrifice. Then 11th, 12th, 13th are the days of Tashriq. Okay. So these days he could not find an animal of sacrifice. He had the price of it. He had the money for it. Okay. He had the money for purchasing it. Then it's a recommended precaution that he fasts, combined between fasting those 10 days, 3 days in Makkah and the 7 days in his hometown, and to slaughter any time after the days of Tashriq, like from 14th till end of Dhul Hajj. Okay, if he finds is an animal of sacrifice, sacrifice. So there's a peculiarity for the goat, for the animal of sacrifice to be sacrificed on the days of Tashriq. If not, then fasting plus obligatory precaution, find a sacrifice until the end of the Hajj and slaughter it. And this is a recommended precaution. Okay. Obligatory precaution is just like fasting. So whoever does not find the animal of sacrifice on the days of sacrifice, and he had the money for it, then as a recommended precaution to combine between fast, he has to fast anyways. So recommended precautions to add on fasting, to slaughter a goat anytime after Ayam al-Tashriq until the end of Dhul Hajj. So he's going to fast as a replacement of lack of sacrifice, animal of sacrifice, and he will also try to, this is recommended precaution if possible. But he's traveling, 12, 13 Dhul Hajj people, they leave. Okay, give someone trustworthy and that amount, you're satisfied with it, with that person, that tell him that anytime you find proper animal of sacrifice, please slaughter it on my behalf. So he says, وَلَوْ بِإِيدَاعِ ثَمَنِهِ, even by entrusting someone with the amount from those whom he's satisfied that he's going to buy, so that he can buy the animal of sacrifice and slaughters it on his behalf until the end of the Hajj. فَإِذَا مَضَى الشَّهْرِ, however, if the month of Dhul Hajj is completed and he did not find, or he did not find somebody to entrust him in him, فَإِن مَضَى الشَّهْرِ ذَبَحَهُ فِي السَّنَةِ الْقَادِمَةِ, if the Dhul Hajj ends and he could not find this animal of sacrifice or someone who could sacrifice on behalf, he would sacrifice in the upcoming year of Dhul Hajj. Okay, so all this were recommended precaution. As I said, wajib is what? He didn't find sacrifice, fast 10 days. Okay, so that's why at the end he says, and it is sufficient that if he just fasts, then there is no need for sacrificing after Ayyam al-Tashriq. So once the days of Tashriq are done, you don't have to be worried about sacrifice. That was recommended precaution. So he said it is, however, it is sufficient to sacrifice, it is sufficient to fast those 10 days of replacement of sacrifice, and the after the days of Tashriq, if it's not found, the sacrifice goat of animal of sacrifice is not found, then it would not be necessary to sacrifice it and look for it until the end of the Hajj. So 3 days of Tashriq, yes, you can look for it. So that was 392. Let's talk a little bit about this fasting. We said in the Quran it is mentioned that 10 days substitute or a replacement for the sacrifice. So ruling number 393 discusses this issue. He says, if someone was not able to sacrifice, he was not able to find a goat animal of sacrifice, or he did not have the money for the goat animal of sacrifice. So either this, either this. In both cases, he is not able to sacrifice. One, there is no animal. Another, there is no money for it. Either this, either this. Either both. No money, no animal. So, صام بدلا عنه 10 أيام. So he would fast as a substitute for it, for 10 days. يأتي بثلاثة منها. He fasts 3 days in Dhul Hajj. Okay, in Dhul Hajj. And on the basis of obligatory precaution, those 3 days should be 7th, 8th, and 9th Dhul Hajj, while he's in Makkah. Okay? While he is in Makkah, should not advance it, precede it. 7th, 8th, 9th. Obligatory precaution, not before it. And the remaining 7, he will fast them when he returns to his hometown. And it will not be sufficient for him to fast those 7 days in Makkah or while he is coming to his hometown. His hometown. Let's say he's stopping over somewhere, which is not his hometown. No. Just once you come back to your hometown, then وإن لم يرجع إلى بلده وأقام بمكة فعليه أن يصبر. Let's say he stays in Makkah for a long time. He says, no problem. Don't fast in Makkah. Those 7 days are for your hometown. If he does not return to his hometown and stays in Makkah, then he needs to wait until his companions or his friends they come back to they return to their hometown. Okay, فعليه أن يصبر حتى يرجع أصحابه إلى بلدهم. So he goes with his companion. Okay, whenever his caravan or whoever accompanies is waiting in Makkah for their accompany. So why shouldn't I fast in Makkah? No, wait until your caravan, your companions, they go back to their hometown, or 30 days pass, then you can fast after that. So 30 days, either you go hometown, or if you are in Makkah, then let 30 days pass by after 30 days. So it's 30 days or not for your hometown. Many people, they get confused here. 30 days are if you are going to stay in Makkah after 30th Dhul Hajj. You can fast in Makkah those 7 days. But if you are going in your hometown in 12th Dhul Hajj, 13th Dhul Hajj, 14th, just fast in your hometown, even in Dhul Hajj. No fasting in Dhul Hajj in Makkah. Fast in Dhul Hajj in your hometown. Okay, but not in Makkah. Makkah after Dhul Hajj. And the continuity and the consistency without leaving any gap is required in the first 3 days. So 7th, 8th, 9th Dhul Hajj, one after another. Don't leave a gap between them. وَلَا يُعْتَبَرُ ذَلِكَ. And it is not required to leave gaps. I mean, it is not required. The consistency one after another without any gap is not required in the other 7 days of the hometown, even though it's recommended precaution to finish it off in one go. But if you don't have to, once a week you can fast that day. But the ones in Makkah, they needs to be in one go, one after another. Yes. And so what about the 3 days of Makkah? Is there any further condition? Yes, there is further condition. On 7th, 8th, 9th Dhul Hajj, you are going to fast. Okay. So you need to enter the state of Ihram. Okay. كما يعتبر في الثلاثة الإتيان بها بعد التلبس بإحرام عمرة التمتع فلو صامها قبل ذلك لم يجزه. That means when you are coming in Makkah, okay, كما يعتبر الإتيان به بعد التلبس, after you enter the state of Ihram of عمرة التمتع, you fast these 3 days. You fast these 3 days. But he said it is obligatory precaution to have 7th, 8th, and 9th. So what does that mean? That means this person needs to come to Makkah on the 7th Dhul Hajj in the Ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu'. And he will stay in the state of Ihram for 3 days. On 9th Dhul Hajj is going to do the manasik of Umrat al-Tamattu', and he's going to exit the state of Ihram. Or he is going to do the manasik of Umrat al-Tamattu' before, and he will wait for Tawaf al-Nisa. Or so anyhow, he needs to be in the state of Ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu'. What if somebody goes to Makkah first Dhul Hajj? That's fine. He can enter with the ihram of Umrah Mufrada. He can perform Umrah Mufrada because he will have to perform his Umrah al-Tamattu' on the 7th Dhul Hajj, because this is the obligatory precaution. You can refer to another marja who tells you no, you can do it in the beginning, first 3 days of Dhul Hajj, or whenever you arrive in Makkah in Dhul Hajj, you can do it 3 days, you can exit the state of Ihram. But here, Sayyid Sistani Damadullah has obligatory precaution. It should be 7th, 8th, and 9th Dhul Hajj. Where did the, yeah. So just to, yeah. So he said in ruling number 393, والأحوط وجوبا on the basis of obligatory precaution أن يكون ذلك في اليوم السابع والثامن 7th 8th والتاسع ولا يقدمه عليها, and he should not precede the fasting before these days. So he has a strong obligatory precaution. So what? So that's why he says that يعتبر في الثلاثة, it is required that these 3 first days of fasting should be done after entering the state of ihram of عمرة التمتع. فلو صامها قبل ذلك لم يجزه. If he fasts before entering the state of ihram, it will not be sufficient for him. Ruling number 394. A person who's obligated to fast the 3 days during the days of Hajj. What if he misses, okay, فاته صوم جميعها قبل يوم العيد. So if he misses those 3 days, okay, those 3 days he misses all of them before the day of Eid, before 10th Dhul Hajj. Remember 7th, 8th, 9th Dhul Hajj. The day of Eid, لم يجزه على الأحوال وجوبا. Then it will not be sufficient as a replacement of sacrifice. That means he has not given the sacrifice. Okay? So for example, he missed the 3 days, all of them. Can 8th and 9th and after the Eid 11th will be sufficient for him? He says no. On the basis of obligatory precaution, it would not be sufficient for him to fast 8th, 9th, and then after the Eid, it's haram fasting, 11th of Dhul Hajj, or after it, any day. After coming back from Mina to Makkah. Okay. So let's see the ruling 394. There is a person who's obligated to fast the 3 days during the days of Hajj. If he misses them all before the day of Eid, it will not be sufficient for him as an obligatory precaution to fast them on the 8th and 9th Dhul Hajj. Okay? And another day after returning from Mina, like 13th, after 13th of Dhul Hajj or 12th of Dhul Hajj. 12th of Dhul Hajj, they return. So that means 13 and onwards. And he says it's better that he should not fast unless after the days of Tashriq has passed. That means after 13th of Dhul Hajj. Even though it is permissible for him to start from the 13th of Dhul Hajj if he had returned from Mina. So he said that it would not be sufficient for him to fast in Mina. Okay? Like he cannot fast 8th and 9th and one day, yeah. لم يجزي يصوم اليوم الثامن والثالث and then one day after. Why? We said consistency and continuity is necessary. So these 3 days he can fast in Makkah not before the 7th Dhul Hajj, but there is no condition fasting it after coming back from Mina. So that's it's all the ruling is all intertwined in the words. So let's break it down. Okay. So we have to connect this with the previous ruling. The previous ruling was that on the basis of obligatory precaution, okay, the 3 days should be 7th, 8th, and 9th. He should not fast before of it. Okay? He should not fast before these 3 days. So that means there's a room for a ruling that explains us what about after these 3 days. Okay. So 7th, 8th, and 9th Dhul Hajj, one after another. So if he misses them, he cannot fast 8th and 9th and one after he returns from Mina. Because then there will be a gap. Consistency and continuity without gap was a condition for these 3 days. In ruling number 393, he's explaining after those 3 days were missed, how can he fast? So I hope we have connected the two rulings together. So that ruling 392 says that, not 392, yeah, 390, he should not fast before the 393. He should not fast before 7th, 8th, and 9th. So that means he can begin from there. However, he misses all of them, like by missing one of them, because continuity is required. And he would do it after he comes back from Mina to Makkah. Will that be sufficient? That will not be sufficient. But can he start 3 days after coming back from Mina? Yes, that is, the 3 days need to be continuous. So after you can, but before 7th Dhul Hajj, you cannot. So this is explained in ruling number 394. Okay. فإذا فاته صوم جميعها قبل يوم العيد. Okay. If he misses all of them before the day of Eid, it would not be sufficient for him on the basis of obligatory precaution to fast the 8th and 9th and one day after he comes back from Mina. Okay? You have broken the consistency. Well, afdal, and the best is that he should not start unless if the days of Tashriq has passed over. It is best. What if I came back in Mina on 12th Dhul Hajj? Okay. So you can start 13, but 13 is Ayyam al-Tashriq. That's fine. It is permissible. It is, because 11th and 12th, you have Eve of Mina, Eve of like your residence in Mina. You're staying in Mina. Yes, you are coming in Makkah. You're staying in Makkah, but you have not left Mina. Leaving, evacuation of Mina must be done after Dhuhr of 12th Dhul Hajj, unless if there was people there exempt. So that means on 11th, you cannot, because you are residents of Mina. Even though the whole day you can spend in Makkah, you just have to spend portion of the night, one of the half nights, either before or then after. Eve of 12th, that means 11th day, you are residents of Makkah. 12th, Mina, sorry. 12th day, you are residents of Mina until Dhuhr. So that means you are going to come back after Dhuhr. You cannot evacuate Mina before Dhuhr. So you are going to come back to Mina after Dhuhr. What does that mean? That means that you can only start fasting from 13. He says it's better not to start on 13. However, it's permissible. وإن كان يجوز له البدء من اليوم الثالث عشر, even though it is permissible for him to start from the 13th day, if he had returned from Mina before it. بل وإن كان رجوعه فيه على الأظهر, even if he arrives in Mina on 13, most apparently he can start fasting from the 13th. Even if he arrived, he stayed eve of 13th there, and he arrived after pelting the stone of 13th, which is an optional thing. Unless if you stayed in Mina until after the sunset, then you have to complete the eve of 13th and evacuate on the day of 13th. We're going to talk about that. And he says it is recommended precaution to start after the day of Tashriq immediately. like 14, 15, 16, or 16, 17, or any three consistent, and not to delay it without an excuse. Let's say if he came back, وَإِذَا لَمْ يَتَمَكَّنْ, if he was not able to, he was unable to fast, okay? He was unable to fast after returning from Mina, صام في الطريق أو صامها في بلدي أيضا. Then while he's on his way to hometown, he can fast. Or he can fast in his hometown as well. Because he came back from Mina, immediately they have to leave Makkah. So there was no 3 days time for that person. However, he says it's recommended precaution not to combine those 10 days together. Like 3 days and 7 days, not to combine them. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَصُمِ الثَّلَاثَ, and if he did not fast the 3 days until the Dhul Hajj ends and the crescent of Muharram and the first Muharram entered, then the fasting will be replaced by the sacrifice in the upcoming year. You can't fast. These fasts are specific for Dhul Hajj. You cannot fast in Muharram these fasts, the 3 days we are talking about. And even those 7 days, we said that, Sab'a. It was ruling number, yeah. So you can, so if a person does not fast those 3 days, then, and the Muharram entered after 30th or after 29th Dhul Hajj, after 29th Dhul Hajj Muharram entered, or if the moon was not sighted, then it was 30th day Muharram entered, then there is no value or no obligation for fasting. Then the obligation will be converted back to sacrifice in the upcoming year in Dhul Hajj. And there are a few small rules remaining. We'll just complete them. Ruling number 395, if someone cannot perform the sacrifice, if someone cannot perform the sacrifice, nor can afford the cost of it, okay? He fasted 3 days in the days of Hajj. 3 days in the days of Hajj. And after that, after fasting 3 days, he found the sacrifice. Before passing of the days of Tashriq, then it will be obligatory upon him obligatory precaution upon him. As an obligatory precaution, he should offer the sacrifice, okay? He should sacrifice the animal. But he fasted 3 days, that's fine. And he found in Ayyam al-Tashriq, that's fine. Slaughter, and inshallah you'll get the thawab of fasting. But slaughter the sacrifice on the basis of obligatory precaution. That means after Hajj, he was able to afford, or he found the sacrifice which fulfilled the conditions. Ruling number 396, we explained this previously in our previous session, that sharing of the sacrifice. If someone was not able to afford the sacrifice by himself independently, can he share with someone else? And he was able to share with someone else, like 2 people, they share 50, 50, 40, 60, whatever percentage he can share. So in this case, he says, as an obligatory precaution, to combine between sharing the sacrifice and fasting with the sequence mentioned. Ruling number 397. Let's say he gave somebody power of attorney or delegates a representative to sacrifice on his behalf, like it happens normally when we go in caravans. There are the HAJJ, they don't want to go into the hassle of sacrifice. So the caravan leader, out of his generosity, dedicates, provides this service that give us the money and we'll go and have party and have pizza. No, no, give us the money and we are going to just sacrifice for your on your behalf. So there is a niyabat. So if a person had delegated someone to sacrifice on his behalf and then doubted, did he sacrifice or not? Should I shave or not? Should I do taqsir or not? No, wait until you get the confirmation of the sacrifice. So you will consider he has not sacrificed, or he has not sacrificed until you get assurances or certainty or confirmation that he has sacrificed. Uh, what if he says, I've sacrificed? So is it sufficient? If you have satisfaction, it's sufficient. But if you doubt, I don't know, this guy, he bluffs and this and that sometimes, I don't know, I'm not satisfied, then then it will be problematic to rely on his word. So you have to make sure that on the basis of obligatory precaution, that you get proper confirmation in a way that your heart is satisfied that he has sacrificed the animal of sacrifice the animal. وفي كفاية إخباري بذلك, and is it sufficient if he tells that it has been sacrificed, as long as if it does not create a satisfaction, causes a satisfaction in you, causes satisfaction, then it is problematic. That is obligatory precaution. Wait and not to do the next procedure. Ruling number 398. Whatever we have mentioned about the animal of sacrifice is not required in the animal of kafara, penalty, even though as a recommended precaution to consider those conditions in the animal of penalty or kafara. Ruling number, that means kafara is different than sacrifice. Those remember the goats and the camels, people, they did this, people, they traveled under the shaded means of transportation. They have to slaughter a sheep or a goat. That animal doesn't have so peculiarity in the conditions the way this animal of sacrifice. Any goat, castrated, mutilated, with no ear, no that. He says it's recommended precaution to observe that. Ruling number 399, the sacrifice. Is it must that a person does the sacrifice or slaughters the animal of sacrifice or animal of penalty by himself? He says it is not required that a person does the sacrifice of the slaughters the animal of sacrifice or animal of penalty by himself. Rather, he can delegate someone else to represent him in slaughtering the animal, even if it was optional. I can go, I can purchase, I can slaughter by myself. Not needed. If you want to delegate, just delegate someone. However, the intention of the representative is compulsory. That means the representative, while slaughtering, he needs to make intention that I am slaughtering on behalf of Fulan, or on behalf of the one who gave me the representation to do so. وَلَا يُشْتَرَطُ نِيَّةُ صَاحِبِ الْهَدِي. So I gave you the delegation or the representative slaughter on my behalf. Do I need to be on the call and say, I am slaughtering the goat of the sacrifice of Hajj Tamattu, Hajj al-Islam? Do I have to say it with you who we are sacrificing? No. You have to say, I have given you the delegation. So it is not required for the person who is the owner of the sacrifice to make intention, even though it is recommended precaution to do so. What about the representative? The representative should be a Muslim. Okay. So this is the portion of the sacrifice, where to sacrifice and how to sacrifice. And if you can see now, after that, there are three rulings. I think we should not leave these three rulings and finish it off, since we are in the chapter of sacrifice. So you can see that we are done with the chapter of sacrifice. Okay, we did all this. Um, so now, where to where to dispose or distribute or give the goat? Now I'm stuck with the goat being sacrificed on my shoulder. What should I do? Only few rulings. And if we complete this, then inshallah we are going to exit the state of ihram, but partial exiting the state of ihram. So I'm going to just go through these. These are easy, like the Quran, according to the interpretation, Quranic interpretation, the sacrifice. Ulamas, they have divided the recipient of the sacrifice into, some of them they considered it two categories, some of them they considered three categories. How? The ayat of the Quran that is given in the course of verses of law, which we have taken, inshallah, if you can go into that course, explaining the verses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used وَأَطْعِمُوا kulu. That means you eat. You are the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you gave this goat to Allah. Allah says you eat. So you are not just in Mina, in the hospitality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah provides you food as well. Okay, there's plenty of goats. So you eat. So you eat. That means it's obligatory upon you to eat. And then you give the faqir. So it's obligatory upon you to give the faqir certain share. And then the third share, should I give a mu'min brother or not? There is a discussion amongst the maraja, that the ayat indicates also that include your brother. So some maraja, they divide this animal of sacrifice. They say you should divide into 3/3. 1/3 is yours, but you cannot carry it on your shoulder like those Flintstones, like they club their wife, and then they carry their wife on their shoulder or something like that. No, you can't carry the goat and go around in Mina. No, it's my goat. Yeah, you have to eat from it if it is possible. But most of the time, the goats are left there where they are, and the Saudi government takes them and distributes them wherever there is earthquake and this and that. They dry them, can them, whatever they do. But then it's not wasted if the government takes those things. Okay, so this is number one, that these goats, so it's not gone waste. So, but your share, okay, you can compromise with your share. What about your friend's share? For those Maraja who say it needs to be divided into three, anyone, you and your buddy, the bromance buddy or whatsoever, tell them, see, I'm going to give you my share. So please give me the permission that the share, I have made it in your ownership, in your possession, that you give me the permission to leave it there. That's your share. What if he's hard-headed? No. If you want my share to keep it there, okay, give me the amount of the share. I want the money. If you have a hard-headed friend, he would make it tough on you. But most of the mu'minin, they say, okay, thank you so much. Will you accept my share? It's better to get someone from there, because from the caravan, because they will have the same problem. What to do? I need to give the mu'min brother. So you get a mu'min brother, say, I will, you give me permission to keep your share there. And he says, okay, you give me the permission. If you will go call hometown to your Sheikh Abu Hassan, Sheikh Fulan, and he will be hard-headed and say, no, 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 no. Give me the money of it. How much was it? $300. I need $100. Okay. Then I give you permission to do whatever you want to do. So the same thing is for the faqir. Okay. If you have poor people, it's not like bribing the poor people. Okay, I'll give you $30. Because your share, I want to leave it there. So it's not bribing, it's a musalaha, they call it, the consultation. So let's say if the poor person was hard-headed. No, you want to play cheap? If it's $300, $100 my share. Give me $100, then I forgive you. What if you get stuck with this type of guy? I mean, if he asks, you give him 100 because this is his share, one third. And many of those poor people, they're kind and nice, and you just give him $10, $20. Yes, I give you permission. He doesn't know the value of the goat. So to be fair, just give the poor one third amount, and then he gives you, like you're buying the share of the poor. So give him proper amount. Okay, one third. But you can do musalaha. You don't have to buy. You just tell him, give me permission to leave you, drop your thing, and this is $20, $30. You don't have to give him $100 for that goat. But you can purchase his share. You can purchase the share of your friend, or do the musalaha, or do the buddy thing. I give me yours, I give you mine. Okay, and we drop it there. Khalas, no hard feelings. So this is the thing. Those maraja who say, no, you have to eat and feed the poor. So this is the difference between the maraja. Let's see what Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah says. He says, Al-ahwat al-awla. It's recommended precaution that a person who's hajji, a person who's performed the hajj, owner of the sacrifice, should eat from his sacrifice, even a little bit. Because Allah is offering you. You gave Allah the whole goat. Allah says, eat from it. You're my guest. Please don't say no. So this is like he eats from it. He says, وَلَوْ قَلِيلًا مَا عَدَمِ الضَّرَرِ. Even little bit if it was not harmful. Okay. Some people, they have problems with meat and this and that. Or it is going to be, once he cuts. And I remember once my teacher was very peculiar of eating it. So he said that let us, he told the slaughterer, okay, that give me the heart and the liver and those kind of things. So I'm going to barbecue it. And we come with the plastic bag, and he loses his, where is my bag? Where is my goat's bag? Because it's wajib, and he was concerned. I took that because I would eat from it and I fulfilled the wajib. And we could not find. When we were leaving Mina, it was just under his pillow and it got rotten like hell. And I don't know, nobody smelled because it was in plastic case, but all the fungus and green and slimy stuff was inside. So anyhow, so on the basis of recommended precaution, say the Sistani has. So it's not proven, the context does not indicate its obligation upon you to eat. You eat from it, even a little bit if it was not harmful. And he says it is also permissible to make it into three divisions, like other maraja, they say obligatory precautions, some said obligatory, to make it three divisions. One third for himself, one third for his family, okay? So, and one third for the يجوز له تخصيص ثلث لنفسه أو إطعام أهله به. So one third, you or your family members. It's permissible, not obligatory. And the other third he can give it to anyone whom he loves from the Muslims. Okay? Like your friend and companion, whoever. And one third, the last one third, that is where the obligation befalls. Where the poor people can negotiate with you. No, you want to bribe me? $20 for $100? Here, the last third, on the basis of obligatory precaution, distribute it or give it as a charity to the poor people from the Muslims. Okay? Poor Muslim people. So because around you in Makkah, you will all find Muslims. So either you give that, either you negotiate with one of the poor and buy his share and leave it there. So So here he says that يتصدق به, that meat, one third, distributed as sadaqah to the poor, which is difficult. That's why this next line is وَإِذَا تَعَذَّرَ التصدق به. If it becomes if you are not able to, if to give it charity distributed, if it's unable to do that, or if it was going to cause difficulty and hardship, then the poor share on the basis of obligatory precaution. Even not, that's not even that wajib, it's obligatory precaution. Then it will fall down. You will be relieved from. So then this share will be the obligation will be then that person will be relieved from this share, which is obligatory precaution. So you don't have to. And should I take the share of the poor by myself? He says it is not required to take the share of the poor by yourself. Rather, you can give it to an agent, okay? Someone who's collecting. And there you see the government, they're collecting. And sometimes if you're doing it in a private slaughterhouse, okay, so and you have to make sure, like, you can't purchase in the school of Ahlul Bayt, you can't purchase those tickets of slaughtering. No, you have to purchase the sacrifice or your representative and make sure the sacrifice is done. So you're purchasing tickets, and there's no satisfaction where they are going to slaughter here, they're going to slaughter later. We don't have any indications because we hear a lot of mixed things. So there's no satisfaction that the Muslims will slaughter it in the slaughterhouse of the government. So as a to just gain the satisfaction, you just go to the private slaughterhouses and just make sure, or your representative goes of the caravan goes to this private slaughter. That's what normally we do. We go to the private slaughterhouses and just slaughter. So when we go to the private slaughterhouses, one day we were slaughtering, and I'm seeing the goat to sacrifice. Now I'm paying attention to the other goat, and I'm looking, the goat disappeared. Where did it go? The throat was slit, and sometimes they run here and there with the head dangling, and then they fall down. This was fallen down and disappeared. And I looked behind, there was a Muslim guy, poor guy, he was dragging from one foot and taking it away. So there are poor around the slaughterhouse. You will see that one goat after another, they get disappeared here and there, and they might be cooking and selling it to the HAJJ, whatever. At least somebody is going to eat from it and benefit from it, okay? Because you made your negotiations with the poor people. So he said then this obligation will be, a person will be relieved, and it is not necessary to you by yourself take portions and give it to the poor. If there's someone in Makkah who are living in Makkah, and they are agent, they can collect all these goats, put them in the truck, and they take it and distribute it. So وإن كان الوكيل هو نفس من عليه الهدي. So if the agent was also whom he had to sacrifice, that's fine. You can take your hadi, you can take your sacrifice slaughtered, and also take other people's and distribute it to the poor. And ويتصرف الوكيل فيه حسب إجازة موكله. And you are the wakil, you are the representative of poor. I'm giving you. Now you want to sell it to the poor, you want to give it to the poor gift, you want to give it to the government, whatever you want to do, you have the full power of attorney, because your share is recommended. Share of your brother is recommended. Obligatory precaution, poor share. And you can always just give some poor a kind of thing, and you can negotiate with them. So he says ويتصرف الوكيل وإن كان الوكيل ونفس من عليه الهدي. Even though if the representative, the agent was by himself, representative by himself was whom he had to offer the sacrifice of Hajj. And then how should he do? How should he deal with the goats? The agent or the representative deals with the goats of sacrifice or animals of sacrifice is collected. according to the representation he received from the owner of the sacrifice. How did he give you? Did he give you the permission to give it a gift, or to sell it, or to because maybe you will sell it and buy something else for the poor people, so it will go to the poor, or he will gift it to the poor. أو الإعراض عنه, or just leave it there, أو غير ذلك, whatever. ويجوز إخراجه له, and it is permissible to take out the goat of sacrifice, okay, or the animal of sacrifice from Mina, out of Mina. Uh, if people in Mina were not needy, okay, or people of Mina were not needy, you can take out the animal of sacrifice after the sacrifice. You can take out the sacrifices after being slaughtered out of the Mina, if there were no needy people in Mina. As I said, while we are slaughtering, one goat disappears from here. Just a minute you are there, and where did it go? Like that. So if they are needy, they will take it. If they are not needy, they will leave it. And then we have ruling number 400. Do I have to distribute it into 3 segments? He says it is not required to distribute it into 3 segments. It is not obligatory. It is not required. لا يعتبر الإفراز في ثلث الصدقة ولا في. So can I subdivide the 1/3? He says you don't have to subdivide. You can just give 1/3 the whole chunk to one poor, and 1/3 whole chunk to your friend, and cook 1/3 whole chunk for you and your family. That's fine. You don't have to subdivide it. So is it necessary to subdivide the 1/3 of the sadaqah, or the 1/3 of the gift given to the mu'min brother, share of the mu'min brother? I'll just not it is not recommended to subdivide the share of the poor, neither the share of the it is no, nor the share of the mu'min brother, nor the share of yours. Okay, therefore, if the whole 1/3 was given to the poor, like, do I have to subdivide these divisions? لا يعتبر الإفراز في ثلث الصدقة ولا في ثلث الهدية ولا يعتبر فيهما القبض. You don't have to capture, because the one who sacrificed was not you. Do you have to touch it to make it your share? He said all this is not required. Therefore, if the poor gets the whole thing, which is inclusive to his share, that's fine. فلو تصدق بثلث المشاع وأقبضه الفقير ولو بقبض الكل. So the whole goat, 1/3 in it is for the poor. The poor took the whole thing. That's fine. فلو تصدق بثلثه المشاع وأقبضه الفقير. Okay, so he gave 1/3 sadaqah in the whole thing, and the faqir, the poor person, took the 1/3 in the whole thing. That means he took the whole thing, in which 1/3 is it? That the whole goat. It would be sufficient. Similarly, for the 1/3 of the share of your mu'min brother. 401. It is permissible for the person who grabs the sadaqah or the share of the mu'min brother to dispose it as he wishes. Whatever he received, he can dispose it as he wishes. Therefore, there is no problem in giving it. So let's say he disposed it. The faqir took his share, or the mu'min brother took his share. Now he owned it. Your responsibility is done. The faqir owned it. His responsibility is done. Your responsibility is done. They owned it. They are the owners. Finish. Now they give it to non-Muslim. They give it, do whatever. It's their issue, their problem. Your problem is that the recipient, the first recipient, should be either the faqir on the base of obligatory precaution, or your mu'min brother. And then he, our last ruling, and then we have the Arabic session starting. The last ruling is 402. If someone slaughters the animal of sacrifice, he slaughters, it got stolen, okay? Or someone took it forcefully. Give me your goat, other I'll beat the hell out of you, kill you. Something like that, okay? Someone like fought you for it. He's grabbing, you're grabbing. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. And he was like one of those gigantic beasts, okay? And he pushes you and he disappears. So either it was stolen, like the one which I was looking here, and where did the goat go? And there was an African guy, he was smiling and pulling from one leg and taking it away. So khalas, I mean, or someone, no, you want to eat, like one of my teachers, I want to eat from it. Give me my, he says, no, give me, I'll take it. You're done, you're sacrificed. I'm mustaq, this and that. He pulls it hard and you get that slips out of, because it's like all greasy and things. So it slips out of your hand. Maybe you're holding his head or mouth, and he was holding the 2 feet, something like that. So if the goat of sacrifice, okay, was stolen, either if he if he slaughtered the sacrifice, it was stolen, or somebody took it forcefully before giving it charity to the poor, then there is no liability upon the owner without any doubt. You slaughtered it, خلاص. Okay. ولو أتلفه هو باختياره. Now let's say he messed up. It was not stolen. It was not taken forcefully. He messed up intentionally, optionally, even by giving it to someone who is not worth of it. Okay. Uh, بإعطائه لغير أهله ضمن حصة الفقراء. The share of the poor he gave to somebody who's not poor. So here he will be liable on the basis of obligatory precaution, because as we see, say the Sistani is very peculiar about the poor share of the poor on the basis of obligatory precaution. Your share of your Momin brother, but the poor he has from the beginning mentioned on the basis of obligatory precaution. It needs to be given to the poor, 1/3. Okay, but rest of the 2/3, it's just recommended precaution. So yeah, so if 1/3 of the poor you gave it to someone who's not worth of it, who's not poor, you will hold the liability, and you will offer the goat of, I mean, you will offer a substitute on the basis of obligatory precaution. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم